All right. All right.
Hello, Toastmasters. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad. I'm going on mute.
That's okay. You're fine. No, I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm excited to see you all again, back for another week being a leader out here. I'm excited about today's Toastmaster. I know we are in for some fun and information, probably. So, for no further ado, Mr. Marty Scholes. Give him a round of applause, some finger claps, whatever you got for him. Show him some love.
Thank you, Madam President. We've had some technical challenges we need to sort out, but it looks like Janet will be sitting this one out today. Janet, if you get this resolved, please jump in. And so that says that the agenda will be slightly different than what we were expecting. All right, let's get started. My name is Marty Scholes. I'm your Toastmaster today. Want to start first of all by introducing our functionaries that we have here today. Let's start with our timer, Ms. Mimi the Motivator. Tell us what you're going to be doing, Mimi.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Today I will be providing the timing for your speeches. For both of our speakers, they're speaking 5 to 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes, you will see green. 6 minutes yellow, 7 minutes red. I suggest that if you're on a computer that you pin my square so that way you can make sure that you can continuously see me throughout your speeches. In the case that you go over that 30-second threshold, I'll start clapping like that just in case you have not seen the signals. And something I may want to mention in case you all don't know, that you can put an app on your phone that will do the timer and it will change the green, yellow, and red for you to help you self-time. And now I'll pass this back over to our Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I want to hear from our grammarian. It's Jennifer Yancey, correct, Jennifer? You up for a grammarian wordmaster role?
That is correct.
Awesome. Tell us what you'll be doing.
So as a grammarian, I'm basically just going to be making sure that everyone's speeches are grammatically correct, and I guess as well as my own. And also my responsibility is to come up with the word of the day, and the word of the day is copacetic. I'll put that in the chat, but it is spelled C-O-P-A-C-E-T-I-C or C-O-P-A-S-S-E-T-I-C. And it means in good order, satisfactory, or excellent order.
Can you use it in a sentence for us?
Sure. Now that you've made up with your best friend, everything is copacetic.
Very cool. Thank you so much. And one of the most important roles here for functionaries is that of the odd counter. And Jennifer Costello, you'll be doing the odd counter today?
I am.
Awesome. Would you like to tell us what you'll be doing?
I am looking for the copacetic non-use of ahs, and so's, and any other clutch words that I may catch on to during your speeches. And I will give my report at the end. And Marty, I won't count your ums and ahs from the beginning. And just the whole thing, if you look at your bottom bar, there's, for Zoom, it says mute and stop video. There's a reactions button, and one of them is a clapping hand. So if you want to, if you see a little hand appear, there you go. That can help with the clapping as well as us going like this.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Well, let's get into our speeches. Like I said, we've got some changes to the schedule today due to some technical challenges. And Mimi, I'll just throw this out. If you've got a few minutes after the meeting, maybe you and I can spend a few minutes trying to do this. That said, our first speaker is Latasha, and Latasha will be evaluated by Q. Q, you up for that? I didn't get confirmation there. You okay to evaluate Latasha?
I certainly can. I'm not sure what her speech is regarding, but I certainly can give an overall evaluation of the, the content and her delivery without a problem.
Beautiful. Beautiful. With that said, Latasha will be speaking about the evaluation and feedback to speech. She'll present a new speech on the same speech, incorporating some of all the feedback she received and presentation of the first speech. Please help me welcome Latasha.
All right, greetings. It is day 39, 50, 100 of the quarantine, right? And what have you been feeling in the past 2 weeks, just in the past 2 weeks, emotionally, physically? Maybe you felt some shock and disbelief about what's been going on in our country, the state of the economy, the state of our society right now, some sadness, anger, maybe fear, of course, and maybe you felt increasingly tired, or there have been bouts of unexplained nausea, or just overall kind of meh feeling that you can't really put your finger on, right? I'd like for you to consider that what you're feeling may be grief. I don't know if Marty said it, because I was a little zoned out when he introduced my speech, but the title of my speech is, "What is this feeling?" And so the answer to that question today is, what if it's grief? Of course, the grief is the obvious result of the death of a loved one or a pet or something like that. But what about these secondary losses? Secondary losses are things that come along and either compound a big loss or a primary loss, such as the death of a loved one, or happens as a result of a death or losing a job or something like that. And these losses fall under relationships at work. We're not at work right now. And even if you're working from home, there's still a piece of those relationships that you've lost. And though it doesn't register on a cognitive level or in your head as a loss, it definitely registers on an emotional level as a loss. And we still feel the result of that loss. And so I lost my spot.
You're doing great.
So how do we cope? That's where we are. So how do we cope with all of this? What do we do about this collective grief that we're all feeling right now, or maybe feeling right now? Once you notice or realize that you are experiencing all those symptoms I talked about before, the sadness, the shock and disbelief, the anger, the fear, feelings of nausea here and there, reach out, seek help, talk to a family, friends. Grief is such a taboo topic in our society. And so we try to keep it in or take care of it ourselves or stuff it down. And as you may already know, those things don't typically work. We have to seek out some kind of support. Draw comfort from your faith. If that's something that brings you a comfort and something that you lean on in your times of emotional need, definitely something that you can bring in to comfort you during these times. Take care of yourself as you grieve. And how do you do that? Face your feelings. Again, we tend to take grief. Sometimes we don't even notice it. But then when we do notice it, there's this tendency to stuff or distract or numb, and we want to face our feelings. That's number one. Face it head on. And I like to say that our emotions and feelings are like children. You can't bury them and you can't stuff them in a trunk, right? Without some consequences, right? And so your emotions are exactly the same way. How many of you guys have dealt with kids on a personal level? Don't have to be yours, but raise your hand. Not have to be yours, cousins, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, whatever. When they knock and you ignore them, what do they typically do? Right? They get louder. They get a little more annoying, but they keep going until they get your attention. And that's exactly what our emotions and our feelings do. They're going to keep gnawing at you and keep talking to you until you give them some attention. So that's number one. That's the biggest thing. You want to face your feelings and accept them for what they are, right? There's nothing wrong with being sad, angry, fearful, and kind of reiterating that to yourself or reminding yourself of that. Next, you want to try to maintain some sense of routine. Everybody's routine is different now, for the most part. Even if you worked at home before, there are things that were in your routine that you can no longer do. But somehow figure out a way to stick to your routine. Doing things like Toastmasters, continuing your Toastmasters, maintaining those connections, right? Thirdly, don't let anyone tell you how to grieve. Your grief is yours. Whatever you feel is yours, and it is okay, whatever you feel. And so you may have friends that you go to for that support, and they say, that's not that bad, get over it. Don't accept it. You know, even if that's what you get back, then you remind yourself, this is mine. They might not understand it, but it's mine, and there's nothing wrong with me feeling this way. Lastly, you want to take care of yourself. The mind and body are connected. And the more you stick to a sleep schedule, you eat right, and continue some kind of exercise, the better able you are to cope with the emotional of what we're going through right now. In conclusion, like I said before, we're collectively grieving. We have some sense of loss because of this quarantine, this virus. You may have even lost a loved one. But seek support, be a support, take care of yourself, and collectively we can get through this. Thank you. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. Could we get a minute or so for people to collect their thoughts, give feedback to Latasha?
A minute is on the clock.
This feels more awkward online than it does in person.
But you can just, tell us a poem or something.
There are differing views on whether or not you should introduce dialogue during the 1 minute of silence. I don't know.
I thought in this moment of silence, I would see if you can hear me.
Oh, yes. Yes,
This is my
yes.
phone.
Perfectly.
Okay, well, in that case, I guess I can participate.
Fantastic. I was mistaken on the speaker slots that we had available there. So I had you pegged for the Earth Day speech. You up for presenting that?
Sure.
Fantastic. I'm glad you're back. I assume we've hit a minute now.
Yes, we have. Sorry.
No.
So I'm gonna tell you what I was doing because you may want to do the same thing. So I was typing a few notes to Tasha since we don't have a piece of paper that we can fold in half and write her name on and pass it to her at the end of the meeting. So.
It sounds like a fantastic best practices. We had so many here. I just wish there was somebody who would coalesce and collect all the best practices and bring them to people so that we all knew. I'm picking on Mimi. I'm telling her she should do that for one of her projects for Toastmasters. Figure out what works and what doesn't and let everybody know.
Okay.
Latasha, great speech. Thank you so much. I'm going to transition now to Janet. Now, Janet, I don't know that we have a evaluator pegged for you. Chinita was here, but it doesn't look like she made it today. Is there anybody who wants to volunteer to evaluate Janet's speech? Maybe somebody whose name is Jennifer? Just throwing it out.
Oh, Tasha raised her hand.
Oh, Tasha, you're in. Awesome. Fantastic.
Tasha's evaluator.
So, Latasha, do we know anything about the speech? No, we don't.
On Easy Speak, if you have your Easy Speak agenda pulled up, her information should be on there.
Do you want to speak to that, Latasha, just a little bit there, and then I'll give the introduction after you tell us what we're watching for with Janet's speech? Please help me welcome Latasha. Woo!
Okay, I just have to pull it up. Give me a second. Here we are. Can
Oh,
you guys still?
I can stall like crazy. If you need an hour and a half of delay, I'm your guy.
No, I have it up. So Janet is going to be speaking about, where'd she go? There it is. Earth Day. What's dirt got to do with it? The speech is to inform, select new and useful information, organize for easy understandability and retention, and to motivate the audience to learn. Please welcome Janet.
Okay, can you hear me? Raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Everybody, happy 50th Earth Day. Woo! I remember the first Earth Day. I don't think anybody else here is in a position to remember the first Earth Day. I was a teenager, and I can tell you that we thought it was a little odd, but being somebody who has been building organic gardens since I was 10 years old for the community, it was part of my life. I want to tell you something, and I'm going to put it on you, and that is, we have a world that is losing a lot of agricultural land and land that has trees on it, like the breath and the lungs of the world, which is the Amazon rainforest. And does anybody here drink coffee? Raise your hand. Okay, it is on you. I mean it, it is on you. Coffee is the #2 commodity on this planet. And I'm going to get back to that in a minute. There are so many things to talk about for Earth Day. Guess what we have? We have 60 years left of agriculture. We are killing our soil. We're killing it with fertilizer and pesticides. You know where that fertilizer came from? World War II. They had bomb materials left over and needed to get rid of it and sold it to farmers. We've been eating bomb material. You wonder why you don't feel good? It's one of the reasons. I'm gonna scare you first, and then I'm gonna give you something you can do about it. Because I'm the kind of person, if I get scared, I gotta do something about it. We have unnatural use of our land. We had farmers that did just fine, thank you very much, before we added the fertilizer. With only 60 years left of monocropping, which means that it's one crop, it's not biodiverse, and the soil can't replenish itself, we have 60 years left. So I may or may not be here, but you guys will be. If you want to be here and thrive, I've got some suggestions for you. You can buy coffee. And I'm going to tell you what to do about that. Being the #2 commodity below oil, it's a big product. And the way it's being made and grown is by taking away the forests, the rainforests that have biodiversity and give us our air to make coffee, to make a cash crop. If you buy organic, shade-grown coffee, that's biodiverse. That keeps not only the plants and animals safe, but the farmers safe and you safe, because you're not ingesting chemicals. So if you were to vote with your wallet and use the power of your wallet and choose, one of the choices you can choose is organic shade-grown coffee. That's something you can do. Another thing you can do is talk. Everybody in here is in here for a purpose, and that is to talk. And I'm telling you, if you talk, when you have a cup of coffee and say, I'm buying shade-grown coffee because I want to live, you make a mention of that shade-grown coffee when you're talking and open your mouth. Because if you don't, who's going to do that? Who is going to do that? If you start doing that, that gives other people the courage and the empowerment to do it. A person talking, if I talk with Mimi, if I talk with Jennifer, if I talk with the other Jennifer, if I talk with Marty, if I talk with Quentin, and I mention it, it hits their heart closer than being on a commercial or somebody holding a sign and having a scream out. Talk about it. Another thing that you can do, and everybody here can do it. I don't care whether you have a yard, a farm, or a windowsill. You can grow stuff. You can grow it in your windowsill. You can grow chia seeds in a jar, for heaven's sakes. Those are very healthy things to eat and things to do. And you're not going to the store to go pick them up and using gas and stuff like that. I really want you to think about what you eat. And I really want you to think where it comes from. And I really want you to think if you want to be alive. Those are things every single one of us has something to do. Now, here's one kind of person I'm not talking to and does not have to do this. And I'll tell you who that is. Anybody who's dead. If you're dead, you do not have to do this. All right? If you want to live, you have to do this. Our government's not doing it. Our government does not know what to do. When we visited Costa Rica, I couldn't find a supermarket to save my life. Where the heck are the supermarkets down here? Well, everybody had a garden at home, chickens and goats. Hello. What do they need a supermarket for? When we went to go have something to eat, the guy with the bus stopped at somebody's house. That lady made us lunch. That was the restaurant. I said to myself, these people are like my relatives back in Mississippi. They have a farm. What the heck do they need a supermarket for? They have a pond. What do they need to go get anything for? They go fishing. If you have a jar, go get yourself some chia seeds, load it up with water, and let those things sprout. In your back pocket, if you can't get to the store, you've got those seeds, and you'll be fine. Of course, you need some water. I have no idea about the timer. I hope I'm not overdoing the timing, but I would like to tell you that there are things that you can do. I run the Monument Community Garden. I've done that for 7 years. We grow everything. I have a cat in my lap that will not get out. We grow everything we possibly can. I have grown corn, beans, squash, all the stuff I normally eat. The good news is I can grow it. The bad news is I feel so close to that stuff I don't want to eat it. It's like eating my babies. But you know what? It tastes really good. I want to encourage you, if you would, to really think about what you could grow at your house, where you are, what you could do. If you don't want to grow something at your house and you want to rely on the supermarket, then please pick out the coffee that's going to save the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Here's the cat.
Oh, there's the cat. Can we get a minute on the clock? Yeah, sweet.
Minute on the clock. Oh, look at the cat waving. Hi, kitty. You have about 30 seconds left. All right. and time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Quentin Blanche, and evaluating Quentin is, oh, we haven't heard from her yet, Mimi, the motivator. Mimi, would you like to tell us what to watch for in Quentin's speech?
Yes, today Quentin is working from the persuasive influence pathway, doing the project, I think number 4, researching and presenting. So today he shall be presenting an unfamiliar topic to us, so hopefully we'll learn something new. And he should be working on transitions from part to part. I'll pass this back over to our Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Quentin will be presenting information on how dreams can be a journey of self-discovery, understanding, wisdom, and staying copacetic. This is a level 1 speech of the persuasive influencer pathway. Quentin has been learning much through the power of dreams, and how to keep a dream journal has given him more insight to life. Well, this sounds interesting. Please help me welcome Quentin Blanche.
There I was, outside, near my elementary school. It was a beautiful day. We're at the park. Baseball field is right there. Sidewalk leading around the school is there. And I was skateboarding. I was having a great time, and it was a magnificent day. And I proceeded to skateboard down the sidewalk. And it just felt seamless, and I felt fluid. It was amazing. And I look up to my right, and I see this white house. And for some reason, it caught my attention. I then jump the fence of the house, start to climb the back area of the house, and it was built out of rocks. It was a beautiful house of architecture. And I'm climbing this house, and I'm climbing, and I see these letters ingrained into one of the stones. And I look at the letters, and I look away. And I look back at the letters, and all of a sudden, they started to disappear and mesh in with the stone. And it dawned on me, I think I'm dreaming. I realized in that moment, a euphoria took over my body, and I was dreaming. I proceeded to climb the house. I get to the roof. I look through the roof. It's an open glass roof, and I see in the middle of the house a living room, and I jump into the living room, and there's a piano, and there's a guitar, and there's a cat. And at this moment, I knew I was dreaming. So I decided, why not? I'm gonna play the guitar. I pick up the guitar, and I strum the guitar, and the most melodic sound I've ever heard in my life is what I heard. I proceed to leave the home, grab my skateboard, and I start pedaling all the way back home, and I felt free. I get home, open the garage, put my skateboard up, and I go through the front door. I then wake up and realize I just had what was called a lucid dream. Ladies and gentlemen, could we be awake and aware while we are dreaming? And the answer is yes. What I experienced was what was called a lucid dream. And to have a lucid dream means to be awake and aware that you're dreaming. And at that point, you can then take control of your dream. You can have the most incredible experiences. You can fly to the heavens. You can play against Michael Jordan in basketball and win. You can visit angels. You can see worlds outside this earth, all within your dreams. What is lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming is a way to gain understanding and self-discovery of what happens in your life in every instance you've ever experienced in your life through your dreams. Here's the interesting thing about sleeping and dreaming in general. We tend to sleep up to a third or half of our life, meaning that we just shut off, we close our eyes, our body goes to sleep, and we are just, I guess, recovering. Our bodies are doing what they need to keep us healthy, and we're preparing for the life ahead the next day. Could there be a way to be awake and alive while you're dreaming? And the answer is yes. For most people, they've had lucid dreams, they just don't remember them. But there have been studies by scientists, by theologians, many groups of people realizing the power of the mind while dreaming. I'm reading a book called Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LaBarge, who's a doctor, PhD. And he has been studying dreams for 20 years and understanding that lucid dreams can be a way to gain meaning, understanding, and live a more fulfilling life while you're awake and also while you're in your dreams. He's come up with a term called oneironaut, which is a person that is masterful in lucid dreaming. And how do you start this process, and why is it important to start this process? Personally, I believe it's important because we can live so much more life while we're asleep. What if you could have your dream moments? What if you could learn to dance? What if you could learn to play the guitar? What if you could learn to heal yourself and your fears, all by being awake while you're dreaming? So Stephen LaBerge suggests that we get what's called a dream journal, and we keep it by our beds at night, and that when we sleep and then we wake up, that we can intentionally write down our dream so we can get better at recalling what we experienced. And that's the beginning step to learning how to have lucid dreams. When I first brought this up with many of my friends, it was new to them. And they would go to sleep. About a week later, they would tell me, Q, I had a lucid dream. And it's that beginner's luck, because you want to try something that maybe you've never tried before. I know all of us have had dreams. The majority of people just are unable to remember them. I believe that if we can start to remember our dreams, keep a dream journal, we'll have that copacetic experience where we are satisfied that we had maybe an interaction with somebody that we have as a far lover, someone that we want to be attracted to, and in your dream, you actually have that moment. Maybe you want to learn another language. The mind is just as awake and able to learn during your sleep as it is when you're awake. Stephen LaBerge suggests that every single person in the world can better their life by learning how to lucid dream. The military uses this technique. They learned how to give soldiers teaching on how to initiate lucid dreaming to where they could be in battle and be prepared as if it's the real thing. So here's some things I want you to consider. Right now, your perception, your awareness. Our brains right now work by modeling the world around us. In a dream, your brain is actually creating the world internally as you're experiencing it. So there's a big difference in how we interpret our life by interpreting what we experience in our dream world. And so consider this in your perception. What do you see right now? What do you hear right now? What do you feel right now? And what do you taste right now? When you can come to those questions of awareness and do those same things in your dreams, I believe that one day you will become awake in your dreams, and you'll be able to explore a world of fantasy that you've never imagined and learn more about yourself and who you are in your core, and go forward in your life with more understanding, wisdom, and knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Quentin. Mimi, can we get a minute on the clock? Give everybody a chance to gather their thoughts.
Yes, minute on the clock.
Thank you so much.
Ten seconds remaining. All right, I hope that minute was copacetic for you all.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. Now we move into the evaluation portion of the meeting where we give people feedback on what they did. I'm going to proceed in the order of the speeches given, not necessarily the order that they are on the agenda. And our first speaker was Latasha, and evaluating Latasha will be Quentin. Quentin, would you please tell us how Latasha did?
Tasha, wonderful speech. I appreciate what you brought in your speech as far as the relatability. Also, something that we're all going through, and we've all experienced emotions, whether it's been, positive or negative, grief, uncertainty. I know for me, I've been pretty positive through everything, but definitely had moments of frustration. And the way that you were able to kind of lighten that grief or that frustration, because we're all going through it, I really like that. Your demeanor is calming and very easy to listen to. I feel that you have kind of that psychology approach, that therapist approach, and just being able to get us all to listen and consider what's going on. So you did a phenomenal job there. I also like that you gave some practical things: your faith, seeking help, having a routine, and counting what, you've had some losses, but how can you have self-care through this? I think you've really given us something to consider in terms of how can I be the most healthy, have a healthy mindset through this. One thing I'd say, just maybe to make your speech and delivery a little bit better as far as, engagement, maybe start off a little bit stronger. I know it's a little weird on Zoom, and I think you said maybe all right or and I remember one of my first moments in Toastmasters, the feedback that I got was, have a strong start for your speech, because that's going to get us engaged. Also, about after maybe a minute and a half or so, 2 minutes in, you were upbeat again. You were ready. You were flowing. So that if you could have that type of energy in the beginning, I think that would help your start stronger. And then when you had maybe that hiccup where you're trying to collect your thoughts and you're trying to remember where you're at, I've always heard that the audience doesn't know what you're thinking or what you're getting ready to say. So you don't need to confirm with us that you've had a stumble. Just go ahead and go through that, look at your notes, and then proceed. Outside of that, Tasha, I can see your improvement. You have a very, what's the word I'm looking for? A very mellifluous flow, meaning that it flows very well. It's kind of like honey. Once you start getting into your topic and you feel confident, you're upbeat, and you also have a great tone, maybe add some more gestures in there. Maybe specific gestures. I think personally, I do too many gestures. I like to talk with my hands. So maybe if you could just give a little bit more gesture, have a stronger start, and continue to have that calming presence, and maybe bring it up sometimes. Maybe start your speech like this. What is that feeling? And then I'm like, man, what is that feeling? What is she talking about? And then boom, go into your speech. It'll create more engagement, but you have a very personable attitude, a very calming nature, and continue your journey on speaking. I think you're gonna do incredible. So thank you, Tasha.
Thank you so much, Quentin. This is just wild. We went from Quentin, the speaker, to Quentin, the evaluator, and now we've got Tasha, the evaluee, to Tasha, the evaluator. Tasha, would you like to tell us how Janet did? Please help me walking up, Tasha.
All right. So first off, I thought that was very informative. You got my attention when, and I'm sure everybody else's, if we feel this connection to the earth, right? When you talked about how much longer we have, agriculture we have left. Immediately, I'm like, whoa, I'm tuned in. And you clearly gave us a synopsis of what the problem is, how it relates to us and what we stand to lose, and then exactly what we can do about it. So I thought that was a great speech, especially with today being Earth Day, kind of tying it into something relevant to all of us right now. If there's anything to work on, and it may just be because your camera's kind of close, but there were no gestures. I think one time I saw a half of your hand doing something, but that may just be a case of panning out so we can see more of your body language and things like that. Yes. And what else? Oh, the ease and comfort in which you spoke. It was very conversational. You seemed very relaxed, like you were really knowledgeable about the content. And I think that's it. Overall, it was a really good speech, really informative, and very relevant.
Tasha, thank you so much. All right, Mimi, you're doing double duty here, like triple or quad duty, but I'm going to time you. Can you give us some feedback on how Quentin did? Please help me welcome Mimi.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and thank you, Q, for that speech. It was very different in a sense from what we're used to getting from you. We normally get something that's motivational, something inspirational. You always drop nuggets of wisdom. So we definitely got that again today. Could there be a way? So I liked how you had that question as the through line for your speech, where you said it a couple of times throughout the speech, and that kept us engaged in a way of thinking, could there be a way of whatever the next thing is, or what is he going to say next? So I definitely enjoyed that. You did a really good job of painting the picture for us to see at the introduction of your speech. And you do that very often. We know that we're looking at your friend and your friend is climbing the da-da-da, or I got out of the sunroof and did this, but you always give us such a great picture to see. I saw you on the skateboard, just, cruising down the street. So thank you for being so descriptive with your words, especially here being online. That enhances the speech even more and gives us more of some of you, in a sense, being online. I definitely want to commend you on your eye contact. I think eye contact is one of the biggest challenges with this online thing, with us trying to look at this little dot on our screen or on our phone and not look at ourselves and not look at the other people, because you kind of want to see what people's faces are doing. So it's good that you glance down and whatnot. But I want to thank you for modeling that eye contact thing, because it's something that I know I'm personally working on myself. You had a really good pace today, and the pace lasted the entire time of your speech. So I definitely want to point that out, because I know in the past, sometimes when you see those flags go up, your conclusion next note is like, I'm done. But this time, the conclusion went just at the same pace as the speech. There was no rush to it. So thank you for that. You used the word of the day per your usual, and you used it correctly. So thank you. I've used it incorrectly, so I'm gonna make sure I say it properly. Copacetic. So thank you for a copacetic speech. Now, if there's anything that I could say, could there be a way that you can be better? The only thing that I could come up with is I heard you say, I guess something, something, something. I don't want to know that you're guessing. I want you to know, or at least pretend that you know, or that you're quoting somebody that you know, and that works. But when you say you guessed, then we're like, wait a minute, I thought you were the expert. Because you are the expert in this moment, because you knew more about this subject of lucid dreaming than us. And the last thing, like I said, it was definitely a better conclusion. Even though you saw the red, you didn't rush, and you gave us some things to consider, almost like a call to action. I will now pass this back over to our Toastmaster. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mimi. Now we get to see how well we did. How are we doing on time? Who's going to be a little tight? So if the functionaries could give us some brief feedback on how copacetic we were in several different areas, that would be great. Let's start with, since you're up here, Mimi, we'll start with you. How we do on time? By the way, you were at 2:58.
58, awesome. Thank you so much. So everyone did a wonderful job on their time. Thank you. We have Janet, you spoke for 5 minutes and 37 seconds. Q, you spoke for 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Tasha spoke for 7 minutes and 51 seconds. So you all would have won and qualified if you were in a contest. Q, for your evaluation, it was 2 minutes and 59 seconds. So you got in just in time. Tasha, yours was 1 minute and 36 seconds. So if you could have gone just a little bit longer, maybe give some kind of demonstration or something. I don't know what makes that go longer. But everyone else did a wonderful job, and I did 2:58. Forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mimi. Next up, I'd like to invite Jennifer Yancey to come up and tell us how we did with our grammar. Was it goodly or not?
Oh my, goodly. Thank you for that. I didn't find too many issues in the way of grammar, although the speakers, and I'm guilty of the same thing. I tend to, instead of saying kind of, I say kinda, wanna, cuz, and I've heard that from each of the speakers a little bit here and there. So at one point, I think Janet had said something about gone fishing versus going fishing, and I didn't find too much of anything else other than that. And as far as the word of the day, so proud of those of you, Jennifer C., you were the first. You used the word of the day once. Marty, you used it twice. Mimi, you used it twice, technically 3 times because you corrected yourself. And Q, you also used it once. So thank you. Everything was just copacetic. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And now let's see how we did on our Oz, ums, and ers. Jennifer, would you like to tell us how we did?
We had a major day of sewing. Everybody sewed multiple times. The other thing we had was double uses of words like for or and. There was a couple of those. And we also had something that I haven't heard in a very long time, us going and or so. Those were the big ones that I've caught. I just did it. We ummed, we odd, we sewed, we and ummed, we and sewed, and we delayed our words. So if we could watch all of that, that would be great.
Fantastic, Jennifer. Thank you so much. You guys have done a great job. These meetings are hard, and we're learning as we go. I want to applaud everybody here. At this point, my job is done. I'm going to pass it over to our president, Ms. Mimi the Motivator. Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, for such a great meeting. That was definitely fun. We're getting through this. We're learning as we go. We're getting over the speed bumps and potholes and all that stuff, but that's what's making us better is what I do believe. So a few quick announcements. On behalf of Sandy, our treasurer, she wants to remind you that dues are due, but she is going to reach out to each one of you personally to see how that's going to work, because she's coming up with it as she goes, because we're not in person. You can't hand her a check or a credit card. So just be on the lookout for correspondence from Sandy individually to you. She may be calling. I'm not sure how she's doing this or not, if it's calling or emailing, but just be on the lookout for Sandy. There's an officers meeting tomorrow. For those of you who are officers or anybody that may be interested in becoming an officer, tomorrow at noon, we will be meeting, same place, here, right here. I see you here. Speech contest. The district speech contest is April 25th, which is this Saturday. So if you want to attend that and see what's going on and what's going down, or if you even want to volunteer, I'm sure they may even need some help still, but attend, reach out to me if you have questions, shoot me an email, and I'll get you all the particulars that you need. And that's all I have. Does anybody have any announcements? Going once. What? No announcements, Janet? I can't believe it.
I don't have an announcement. I have a question. Is next week's meeting already set, or do we need to fill roles for next week's meeting?
We need to fill roles. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, let's get that done really quick. I'm going to pull up Easy Speak and see what we have in store so far, because I don't know if anyone has signed up or not.
It's completely blank.
Wide open. So who would like to be the Grand Toastmaster? Let's start there. And whoever you are,
I'll take it.
Q raised his hand.
All right, thank you, Q. So Q, if I would suggest take notes as we fill these roles, so that way, in case nobody goes on there, you can make sure it's filled out. All right, so we got Q as Toastmaster. Janet, would you like to speak? Because I know you were going to give 2. You had 2 ready. So Janet is in need of a partner for her next speech, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Janet? Does anybody want to volunteer for that?
I certainly can help if it will be.
Janita.
Oh, Chanita volunteered.
Chanita,
All
yeah.
right. Okay, so I got Janet as the speaker, and Chanita is going to be her guest. Janet will probably reach out to you and give you kind of a rundown of what she's doing. Okay, so I need a second speaker.
Mimi.
Mimi, I would like to take that.
Okay,
Second speaker.
okay, and what about you, Jennifer Yancey?
Yeah, I volunteered for that. That's what I was volunteering for.
Okay,
Be the other speaker.
Okay.
So who's getting it?
Well, if you all are not opposed to it, we can definitely do another speech-a-thon. That way folks can get some speeches done and out the way.
I'm not opposed to it.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So that's what
That
we'll
works.
do. Yeah, that way we can get some stuff done and get. All right, so I have Jennifer C. and Jennifer Yancey both as speakers and Janet as a speaker. Can I get some evaluators, please?
It's a lot of J's.
I know.
Yeah, this is Marty. Throw me in for anything you want.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you in as Janet's evaluator. Okay, evaluator number 2.
I'm open.
Okay, thank you, Miss Tasha. All right, evaluator 3. I can take that spot. Or I'll work on this time. Miss Janita, what position would you like? Would you like to count some ahs, ums, or ers, or would you like to give us a word of the day?
Why don't I try timing again?
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put you in as timer. All right, and then I'll be the evaluator number 3. Okay, I think we have everything filled. And that's it for me. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you remaining committed to yourself and your journey through Toastmasters and to your Toastmaster members. Miss Janet, do you have something for us? Go ahead.
I didn't hear any roles. I heard the evaluators, but I didn't hear like grammarian and those kind of roles.
Well, we have a timer. What other role do we have to have for a speech-a-thon? Let me see. Because I know we don't use all of the functionaries.
Oh, okay.
So whatever is left free, I'm hoping that our Toastmaster will send out an email, and so the people who are not here today can have an opportunity to participate next week, because I know there are a few people who said they will be back in the swing of things next week. So hopefully that is so. All right. So otherwise, before I close the meeting, is everybody doing okay? I haven't asked that. Okay. And if you all need anything, you reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me. I've been answering the phone a little bit more often now, so I am accessible. And with that, I would like to close this meeting. Yes.
Can I make a suggestion? Can you send out the link for the Zoom meeting? Unfortunately, I didn't get an email today that had the link, so I was hoping one of the previous ones worked. And luckily, I had a previous email, but if you could just, I know it may not change, but if you could send it out just in case it gets deleted and we accidentally permanently delete it.
Okay, no problem. I will definitely do that. And when you get an email next week, they'll probably be in there as well. But I'll definitely make sure that it's on my to-do list to send out the link to you all. And yes, it should be the same. The way we have it set up, this is a reoccurring meeting with this particular Zoom ID. So this is the one that will work every week unless we change something and add a password or whatnot. But otherwise, this is what we're doing. All right, any other questions? Okay. Well, you all have a wonderful day. Enjoy it, get outside, get some sunshine, spread some happiness around. Bye.
Bye.